Back to a Dunn gaming stream. I'm excited to be here, to say the least, with my good friend Drake. I'm excited to kind of finish up the Angmar campaign today, since it's actually really, really quick. At least, well, kind of depends. Right now, we're going to do a fortress assault type situation where we're defending the fortress for the first time. And basically, the enemy is an infinite unit spam. So, and we are limited to a pop limit of 700. So, it's kind of interesting. So, a lot of this actually provided me with a lot of like the basic outline for Rise of the Dark Queen, at least this particular game, because I really like this story, and I just decided to kind of like, let's put some spins on it that might be interesting and kind of pull some stuff out. Because, like, just the idea of, like, the elves and dwarves attacking an evil fortress and your primary focus is on people who are ostensibly the bad guys, just that fascinated me as kind of a concept, and so I just decided to use that as kind of an idea. So, you said you're playing a lot of like Dawn of War, right?
Yeah.
How's that going?
I was playing the original because Winter Assault really annoyed me. Like I was saying before we started, it's super scripted and will kick your teeth in if you don't play it exactly the way the game expects you to play it, especially on higher difficulties. So I just did the original, and uh, the original is limits you to only Space Marines out of Marines, Orcs, Eldar, and Chaos, and it's really easy actually. Maybe that's why Winter Assault is so hard and scripted, is because it is really easy if once you know where everything is, where to attack and where to attack from. Once you know all that stuff, you can crank the difficulty to insane and generally steamroll the entire campaign, except for Mission 6. Mission 6 can kiss my ass, because Mission 6 is where they start spawning orcs in the corner of the map and just start randomly throwing them at your base, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no structures you can take out. They just spawn at a corner and they just come at you. And they'll like throw cans at you, they'll throw tanks at you, and there's nothing you can do. I lost my garrison very quickly, and I wasn't used to that, so I basically had to just wall up my own forces, split my army in half, and go up to the other half of the army where there are Eldar that just spawn in forever.
Heyo.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm passing out.
Yay.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but I decided to fucking click that link.
Well, I'm glad that you came on. Always a pleasure,
Yep.
my friend.
Yep. Always a pleasure. So what the hell is this? What game is this?
This is Battle for Middle-earth 2, Rise of the Witch King. Basically, it's an RTS strategy game. It's kind of the only game that I'm really, like... It's kind of the only style of game that I'm very good at. Most of the other games that exist, or even like first-person shooters or PC games, I'm not that good at them because, like, most of my like coordination is like moving like big scale stuff rather than kind of the small scale little reactions.
So this is a Lord of the Rings game, huh?
Yep.
Why can't I escape from Lord of the Rings today? I just got off a Smudcast talking about Lord of the Rings. I don't even know that much about Lord of the Rings. I can't get away from it.
Yeah, what can you do? Wasn't it like Sauron? That was the Sauron is too stupid to win video,
Yeah, that's
right?
the one. That's the one.
Was it?
Yep.
Was it really bad, or was it kind of just
It's
meh?
alright. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, I don't think.
Yeah, kind of ultimately, like, Sauron kind of sows the seeds of his own destruction, because that's a major theme of Tolkien, is that the villains kind of sow the seeds of their own destruction by the fact that they're usually just underestimate like the small things in life and kind of go for the steamroller smash attack usually.
Well, to
I
be
see.
fair, if I know anything about Tolkien's other species, Sauron had every right to underestimate them.
Ugh.
That is
Oh
true.
god. Doesn't
He
Sauron
was
die
there when
off?
the courage of men
Doesn't
failed.
Sauron die off screen unless you see the extended edition?
Define
Uh,
die.
I don't
um.
fucking remember.
So die. No, you see the eye explode in both versions, in
Do
both the
you?
extended and the theatrical.
Okay, okay.
Get back to work, or you'll be thrown to the wolves.
Honestly, like the theatrical is probably the best way to watch these movies.
Build it strong.
So, yeah, there's a lot more character work
Our new
right there.
building is ready.
So a neat thing about this game, this particular scenario that I actually like is basically they are an infinite unit spam. Unlike a lot of other scenarios where you have to destroy buildings and stuff, in this, this is basically infinite. You can't. You have to just outlast them and just wait until the enemy is completely finished, and their attacks are going to come up in about 30 seconds, but I'm just going to kind of summon some powers just to kind of demonstrate right out here, just to kind of kill a bunch of them.
Dunn, you were the one that got all excited when you realized I've seen Legend of the Seeker, right?
Yep, I love that
Yeah.
show.
Unfortunately, it's not on Netflix anymore.
It's free on ABC.
Is it?
Yeah. I actually looked it up after you told me about that. I was just like, oh my goodness, this kind of pulpy Xena meets Game of Thrones only for teenagers show that I really loved watching when I was a kid, and I still like it to this day. It's got
I
a
enjoyed
weird.
it.
Yeah,
I never
it's
got
got
to finish it because it was removed from Netflix.
really, yeah. It's free to watch on ABC as far as I know.
Yes, it is.
And this is why I don't subscribe to Netflix and simply subscribe to Yar.
It looks like you don't even have to make an account to watch it, do you? You can just click on it.
Yeah, I imagine
Shit.
like if you have ad block, we should watch it together. I'd love to watch that as like a watch together thing. Since it's kind of just a fun simple fantasy show before Game of Thrones turned everything into historical drama shows.
Yeah.
And porn. Don't forget porn.
Oh yeah. Well, there's like soft porn in
Dude,
Legend
it's
of the
playing
Seeker.
it. It's just playing it. Holy shit.
Yeah, I honestly I watched it. I fell in love with Bridget Regan with that show, Kaylin Amnell, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this lady's like perfect.
Who just got fucking killed?
Yeah, she just got
No, not the game. I heard somebody's mic. I just heard like King Kong walking around.
Oh, that's this.
Is it?
That's the game. Alrighty. So the enemy is broken through the gate, and now they are basically just going to come through this gate. But the nice thing is, I have a lot of troop. I have uber powerful catapults.
To be honest, I'm not that good at video games either.
Oh,
Like when I get home from work, it's like, fuck yeah, I just want to play some fucking Wario World. I really don't give a shit.
Yeah, this
I
is
gotta
what
pull up
players
my
like to
laptop.
call macro in terms of RTS lingo.
Drake, what's your hangout game? What game do you play when you're just chilling?
Probably Dawn of War Dark Crusade.
Let me look
Especially
that up.
these days.
Let me look that up. Hold on a minute. Hold on, I'm gonna look that up.
It's a great time killer.
All right, what's it called?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Dawn of War Dark Crusade. It's 40k game. It's the best one of the series, honestly.
Dawn
the
of
Digimon
War
Tamers of Dawn
Dark
of War.
Crusade. Dawn of War Dark Crusade. Here it is.
work, or you'll be thrown to the wolves.
Oh, that's Warhammer, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Warhammer.
So I can either do one of two things. What do you think I should do? Should I just kind of move backward and just retreat into kind of this area, or shall I just keep defending the breach? What do you think?
Depends if they're gonna like really rush you, and at what point, or are they just gonna keep doing what they did forever?
They're pretty much going to just do what they're doing forever.
Is there any way to heal what's already been damaged?
What's already been damaged?
Because then
No,
you could just
it's
completely humiliate them.
yeah.
So Drake, according to Google, a strategy game that is similar to Warhammer is a game called Space Hulk: Vengeance of the Blood Angels.
There are so
apparently-
many Space Hulk games. You're gonna need to be more specific. There's like 10 of them.
I just like how asinine the title is, Space Hulk. It's like, all right.
Space Hulk is almost exactly as old as I am, so I feel like a spiritual connection to it.
Oh wow,
It's also
there's
the
a
only place where
PlayStation 1
Gene's are
version.
viable.
It's a PlayStation 1 game?
How far did you get into Legend of the Seeker before?
I don't remember. It was
vanished
years
on that.
ago. It was so many years ago. I would have to start the show over.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. That might be fun.
Let's do it. Fuck it.
Yeah, we should do that sometime. We should kind of figure out a time that we could do it, since it's a fun.
I'll do it like right now. I don't give a shit.
I do remember like the ending of season one's kind of weird because it's like a strange time
Don't say
travel.
nothing. Don't tell me nothing. I don't want to know.
Season 2. You didn't even finish season 1? Dang.
I don't remember. Don't tell me nothing.
Okay. Okay.
Temple of Twilight is greater than ever. Build it strong. I await the Witch King's command.
Looks like there are 2 seasons.
Yep, there are just 2 seasons, and then it got canceled.
Yeah.
Probably because Game of Thrones wasn't as big as it would be later on.
I see.
I think if Game of Thrones was like really popular at that point in time, they would have like done everything they could to keep that show going.
Maybe.
We finished that one. Get back to work. The building is ready.
Yeah. I think like one of the best things, I think it's just from the first episode, is I'm deaf as a peach and naked as a baby bird. I think that's one of my favorite lines ever. I really love that line. It's really funny. That was kind of my oh. Yeah, they should have gotten a lot more seasons of Legend of the Seeker. It's one of those kind of adaptations where it's just like, this is extremely different than the book, but I'm actually okay with it because the books are really bad. Like, the books have a lot of like really big structural problems. Like, they have a big Deus Ex Machina problem. And really, like, all of this stuff after, like, the next book after it, there would be a Deus Ex Machina, like, yeah. Oh. Yeah. Not Game of Thrones. What is it? What are they? the Sword of Truth series. I really don't like the Sword of Truth series. I had to just quit after book 5.
Yeah.
I think it was. I was just not sorry. I thought it was like I thought you were referring to there isn't a Deus Ex Machina problem in Sci-Fi Fire. I apologize. I was talking about Sword of Truth. Yeah, Sword of Truth, basically, it follows a very, very annoyingly similar structure for every single book that I really hate. And that is plot that is kind of meandering, ending that's solved by a Deus Ex Machina, and then fallout because of the Deus Ex Machina is the plot of the next book. And it just keeps going for the next 5 books. And even like book 5 just barely like focuses on the main character and just focuses on this little like annoying city that's basically just extremely corrupt and nothing really happens to like further the plot, and it's really, really frustrating. And I just really just could not stand that. And after a while, then I just quit and just read the Wikipedia synopsis. Because it's just kind of like, come on, please, just learn some sophistication, Mr. Goodkind. And like even like the first book kind of has like some really giant problems where it's just like it's kind of like the problem that like a lot of shows actually have nowadays, where they think that these like people who are like objectively bad people just based on like the actions that they take are like
Written to be sympathetic.
Are not even sympathetic. They're meant to be paragons of virtue.
Huh.
And it's just like, look, he's a bad person. He's not a good person. This is I don't know what I don't know what you're doing. And kind of even like Terry Goodkind, he says like, I don't write morally gray, weak characters. I write people who are like noble and virtuous. And it's just like, Mr. Goodkind, I kind of want to check what I don't know what your concept of morality is, if you say that.
Can you give us an example?
I think one was the main character is being tormented by this little girl, so who's like being kind of psychotic, admittedly. So what he does is he kicks her chin and makes it so she bites her tongue off.
Damn.
Like, and so that's Richard Cypher in the books. They very much changed Richard Cypher to make him like a more like sympathetic and better written protagonist in the show, as opposed to the books. And I was just like, when I was very surprised, because there's like, also it's got a really bad tone problem, because sometimes you get like these Winnie the Pooh wholesome moments, and then you get Game of Thrones style torture porn. Like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So is it just like the personal actions that are really questionable?
Yeah, it's a lot of the personal actions are really like Mr. Good, and also like eventually leaving like an entire like city to be overrun by the enemies just because they voted not to be in their own thing in their empire. So I guess it's kind of the notion of like leaving them to lie in the same bed, the bed that they made. But it's kind of just like I question your Mr. Goodkind, as well as like just randomly just throwing dragon when dragon has not been in the book, just so that the main character has a way to get around things. It's just cuz.
What do you mean throwing?
Literally, their protagonist needs yeah, literally just the protagonist just comes like the protagonist basically just like he finds a dragon that he then uses to travel around.
Hey there, boys.
Hello,
Hey.
Tarek.
How's it going, man?
I'm all right. You guys?
It's like just Dragon Ex Machina uses Dragon to solve all his problems.
Kind of, yeah. There's kind of a weirder Deus Ex Machina thing where basically because this guy has memorized this entire book, he's able to play a 3D chess match with the bad guy. And also he's able to overcome his trauma by putting his pain in a box. Even though he's been tortured and supposedly broken, and it's really I'm not sure trauma works like that. At all. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a very good point where it's just you gotta keep things great but digestible. I think a good example is actually Joe Abercrombie, where the characters a lot of them are kind of trying to do the best that they can, but they all have some measure of human failing. They're kind of avaricious, they have lust, they have greed, that sort of thing.
I still need to finish the Blade itself, but when I do read it, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's partially because the Blade itself is just so personable and funny to read. It's just really, really funny.
It's got a lot of dark humor in it, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when Sandan Glock is speaking.
Yeah.
Because it uses third-person limited duration narration. I'm sorry, first-person limited narration. So oh wait, is it first person or third person narration?
It's third person limited
it's
since there's no eyes.
Third person limited.
Since there's no eyes.
But it's funny because when he when the narrator is explaining something that's occurring from Glocta's point of view, you can tell that he wants to say something but doesn't. Things like that.
Yeah. Kind of where he just is thinking how much he hates Archlector Salt, but he doesn't say anything about how
that's
much
really funny. That's definitely a funny recurring joke, yeah. Dealing with Salt.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of funny. I actually found a cast list that put Archlector Salt as either Charles Dance or Christopher Lee, i.e. Saruman from Lord of the Rings. And I would be cool with that. I think that would be awesome. But unfortunately, Christopher Lee is no longer with us.
Yeah.
Poor guy died at the age of 96, I think. He lived a long time and had a really cool, interesting life. He actually probably stabbed somebody in the back because he knows exactly what the sound that a man makes when he is stabbed sounds like. No joke. That was actually a discussion on The Lord of the Rings Extended where they were filming Saruman's death scene, and Peter Jackson wanted Christopher Lee to play it a specific way and make a sound, and Christopher Lee asked, do you actually know what a man sounds like when he's stabbed in the back? Because I do.
Oh, shit.
It's not it's more like, because the breath leaves your body. And Peter Jackson then said, he then began to describe a very clandestine part of World War II to me.
Yeah, I imagine. There's so much of war that does not make the history books.
Oh no. Especially since Christopher Lee's kind of just had this fascinating life where he actually met Tolkien. And his mom was a Contessa apparently. And he had a lot of really interesting stories, and just so many cool things happened in his life. I think he just had a huge resume, just nutty how much he was in.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny, like, so hey Tarek, so how's life been for you, buddy?
It's yeah. I don't want to bring down the stream, so I'm just gonna say it's been all right.
Oh no, it's fine. I don't mind. And I'm down to commiserate. It's okay.
My grandfather passed away Saturday.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's what I meant by not bringing down the stream. It's everybody's down, everybody's here. A lot of everyone. Here's the funny thing: if we weren't under the restrictions we were under, like if things were the way they're supposed to be, his funeral would look like something out of the fucking Godfather.
Really?
What I mean by that is like a lot of people are showing up regardless, and it's with the services tomorrow.
Okay.
So we're expecting, like a lot of people to come. We're expecting a lot of well wishers and everything, but it's just been a very dour situation over here, to be honest. Yeah, it's just been one of those weeks.
That is rough indeed, my friend.
Yeah, Mom, obviously, like Mom and my grandmother are just completely miserable. But other than that, things are, as well as they can be, like,
Rogash has returned with his army.
It's just, words fail me, to be honest. Words completely fail me.
Well, we're here, and we're here for you, and for what that's worth.
I honestly cannot express how much I really do appreciate that.
Well, however we can, we'll try to help you bring up your spirits, and all we can do.
I do genuinely appreciate that. Actually, obviously, I'm going to be speaking at the funeral tomorrow, along with several others. And I you know what? Before, I just want to share this because I was writing the eulogy and whatever the other day, and this is something I think people need to hear. My grandfather taught me a lot of lessons growing up and through my adult life, whether it was business, morality, business morality, how to live, how to be a man, that kind of stuff.
The lessons that every person should learn how to be.
Yeah. But the most important lesson I believe he taught me, and I say this, and I wrote this to kind of end the service on, is it's a simple lesson. It's something you've probably heard before, but it's something I think everyone needs to hear. Do not wait until somebody is gone to tell them how much you appreciate them. Do not wait till that right moment, because that right moment may never come. And they may go to their grave never knowing just how much you either love them, what you thought of them, how much they meant to you. You think about just how much somebody means to you and tell them that. Do not wait to tell them, because you may never get that chance.
We visit these ancient tombs, this time to corrupt the souls of the fallen.
That was what I believe was his the best lesson he ever taught me, because I did get to tell him, what I thought about him before he died, like probably in 2019. And I am so glad I did, and I have no regrets about it. It's just, again, it's something people need to do more, because a lot of people do not feel appreciated, or they don't know like how much you mean to them or how much they mean to you. It does not hurt to tell them how you feel.
So this is kind of just a fun bit right here. I'm just gonna basically nuke these guys.
Holy crap!
Holy, is that a werewolf? What the hell is that?
Yep, that is a spectral. It's called Shade of the Wolf. It's.
Father Gascon.
Mm-hmm.
Is that about as big as the Balrog is?
Yeah,
It seems about the right size.
yeah, it's
No,
about
you
the
know what
same.
that. Sorry, you know what that looks like? That looks like Ralph from Rampage, the wolf thing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Or Saberwolf from Mortal Kombat. Not bleh, wow, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Killer Instinct.
Yeah. So
Mortal
one neat thing
Kombat.
one thing about this game, this one is interesting because basically there's like a big army of like mid-tier cavalry that if you seize one of these barrows, they will send off these guys to get them. So my plan is basically clear this out really quickly before the enemy before they can kind of reinforce the enemy, and then I can basically just smash through them really easily without having to worry about them.
So what is this, like a tower defense game?
Basically, yeah, you're trying to defend these. You're basically trying to put your sorcerers on these and then go for it.
I got it.
A tower defense mission, at least.
Oh, I gotcha.
Also, there's kind of a neat power called Avalanche that you can use.
Ooh.
Like so.
That's fun.
Yep. That's one of the neat things about this game is that you have nice little powers that allow you to do fun stuff. Now that that's been cleared out, I can kind of move over here and start building up my resources. Can keep going right here. I can also start putting my orcs right here and give them a nice war chant so that they can get super powered. Then I can start shooting. Then I can put my giants right here.
Oh, I got Resident Evil 8 last Friday. Yeah, it was Friday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
It
I bought
is-
it, but I haven't played it yet.
Oh, I've
Because
been.
well,
Sorry.
I want to stream it, but the same thing happened to me with Nier, the Nier reboot, where it's like I want to
Replicant?
stream. I want to play it, but I don't want to play it without streaming it, so I'm just not fucking playing it.
Oh, you see, I dove right into Nier. I will warn you of one thing, gameplay-wise. If you're gonna get the good endings, prepare to do a lot of tedious shit.
Okay.
Like, I like the game. I do genuinely enjoy the game, but I can see why Nier Automata really learned to kind of pull back on the side quests. There are a lot, but it's a lot of not grinding, more like resource hunting.
Because I just had a lot of. I've been working, and then when I get home, I have homework to do because I'm in the home stretch of school. So
I've
So
been
I
busy
just,
myself. We're in season right now. We're almost done, but it's just been exhausting.
yeah, so I haven't really gotten to do those things. Like when I do have a little bit of time, it's like fuck it, I'm gonna play some Wario World and go to bed. I don't give a shit.
I will say this though, Resident Evil 8 is easily the dumbest game I have ever played. Like I can't say it's not fun. I am enjoying myself, and I gotta give Capcom all the credit in the world. If this was a Van Helsing sequel, I would believe it. It looks like one.
Really? The Hugh Jackman movie?
The Hugh Jackman movie, yeah, but it doesn't like obviously it's not starring Hugh Jackman, but it's kind of weird. It has a lot of set dressing that looks very similar to the Van Helsing movie.
Yeah, I actually unironically love that movie.
Oh, I love that movie, and I love the video game. The video game is a really good Devil May Cry clone.
Huh. That is cool. I like that.
So what's the premise of Resident Evil 8? It's like the only thing I know about it is a Resident Evil game and something vampires, which already
it's a direct continuation of the 7th game.
It is a direct continuation, but the issue with this game, though, is just that it is just. I don't know what the hell Capcom was thinking. Like, again, the set design or the art design is really well done. It's just so stupid. Like, this isn't
like
really...
RE2 stupid, RE4 stupid, or RE6 stupid.
RE stupid as in, you know, the herbs from Resident Evil and how it's kind of an unwritten rule that it heals everything no matter what kind of wound, just because it's a mechanic like of the game. Like, if you think about it, it doesn't make sense, but it works in the context of the game.
Yeah, the everybody's a pothead joke.
Yeah. Okay, it's not a spoiler, really. It's just something that happens in the game, but it's not a spoiler, it's not a plot beat, it's nothing like that. There's a point in the game where I just keep calling her Vampire Mommy because that's fucking hilarious to me. And that meme has completely destroyed all credibility. She uses her Wolverine claws that she has to literally cut off Ethan's right hand.
Wow.
So it's kind of like Resident Evil 7 in that way. But here's the thing. His hand is still grabbing the lever he was trying to pull down or pull up. Because, you know, like, if you cut something off like that, the muscles will still be contracted. Here's what he does. After you escape the room, he takes the hand, shoves it on the stump of where his hand was, pours the healing salve over it, and it reattaches the fucking hand.
Didn't that like happen repeatedly in Resident Evil 7 where he got his hand chainsawed off?
No, that was only once, and that didn't work like that. I bought that more in Resident Evil 7 because they actually stitched it back together and stapled it. And it was... but here's the thing, like, it is a clean cut between the bone, the muscle, and the tissue with these Wolverine claws. He has nothing more than a stump, shoves it back on the stump, pours some green herb juice on it, and it heals the entire thing. Like, you have the hand for the rest of the game, and I'm like, what the fuck?
That is amazing and stupid at the same time.
That's the thing. I love it, but Jesus, it's just so stupid.
It's like in Resident Evil, people no longer feel pain.
I am starting to think Ethan Hunt. What is that from? I know that's a name.
That is from Mission Impossible.
Thank you. Ethan Winters. I don't think he does because he gets fucked up in that game. In fact, there's a point just before that where they string him up, and I think this was in the demo. They string him up with like sickles and whatnot, so he's hanging from chains, right? And he literally rips his hand off the chain. So essentially, imagine, if you will, you were impaled on a sickle, and you just ripped the entire upper part of your hand off to get it off.
Wow, this is going to make it really hard to fap.
Well, I mean, literally in the first part of the game, he loses 2 fingers on his left hand, his pinky and his ring finger. And he doesn't. He loses it to a werewolf, and I'm like, what is this?
Werewolves, vampires? Are you positive this is Resident Evil?
I was asking that question myself, but then I saw the Umbrella logo at some point, and I was like, okay, I guess.
I asked that question throughout Resident Evil 7.
Resident Evil 7?
Isn't the gimmick of Resident Evil that it's zombies?
It was for like every game up till 4.
And technically, mutants are.
Well, yeah, it was zombies up to like 4, and then it became more about the mutants.
Yeah, it's like it's not so much zombies in the Night of the Living Dead sense as zombies in the brain dead spreading a virus autonomously sense. It makes more sense if you go by the Japanese title Biohazard, because every game in the series has something to do with a biohazard of some variety, even 4. And
Here's
bioterrorism is such a huge plot point in that universe.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, you know what? I buy that in Resident Evil, say, 4 and 5, this happens, because, like, as Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, etc. proved, bioterrorism is becoming a bigger and bigger thing. People are getting more and more access to this stuff. So I'm fine with that kind of escalation. But this, I don't know what this is.
It's like you say, it's like vampires and werewolves, and I'm wondering, does this have anything to do with that progenitor plant? Is that storyline over? Is it a plaga?
I don't know what. I'm halfway through the game. I have no idea. But I will give the game credit where credit is due. There's a lot of things in the game that are legitimately creepy, like on a Silent Hill level. Well, actually, okay, there's only one part I've experienced so far that does that, but it did it very well. So to answer your question, Dunn, I have no idea what the hell's happening with Resident Evil.
It seems like it's gone like super nuts.
But here's the thing. Resident Evil 6 did that like years ago, and that had you fight a zombie Tyrannosaurus Rex.
And don't even get me started about the giant lady literally made of
Out of what?
the giant Ada Wong, the giant Bukake monster.
Oh, I remember that. And don't forget the other one that was in like Chris and Piers' mission, which was basically a giant aborted fetus.
I did not care for that particular mission at all.
That game sucks. Period.
It's like I was playing through that game and going, wow, my handgun accuracy really sucks. Maybe I have to level up. And no, you max it out and you still suck.
There's no way to max it out either, really.
So,
There's no way to make the controls not shit. And that ultimately killed it more than the story ever could for me, because I can tolerate a dumb story if the controls are at least solid.
hi, Valerian.
Hey.
Hello.
So this is the. So you remember in the appendices the story of the plague that happened in the.
Yes.
Basically, this game is saying that it was caused by the Witch King, which is probably true, since a bunch of whites came out. But basically, what happened was he made it so that he sent a bunch of sorcerers into the Barrow Downs and corrupted the tombs of the tombs of Arnor's kings.
Oh, okay, so that's what the Barrow Whites are. But are you Angmar or the other one, the good guys?
No, I am playing as Angmar. That's the only place you can play as. Basically, I'm trying to cause this pandemic, and I can also summon a giant werewolf.
Oh, a video game where you cause a pandemic. That's timely.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know that Tolkien would be horrified, of course.
It probably would be.
I mean, Tolkien was easily horrified, if I'm honest.
Kind of ironic since the man went to war.
Yeah, but I mean, he wouldn't like the idea of people taking his work and then playing as the bad guy.
I don't think he would
he'd like
appreciate
that
having
idea.
a real time.
I can't talk because I'm
Sorry, one at a time.
sorry.
One at a time. Valerian, you first.
Oh, what was I saying?
Video
He
game.
was
where he
horrified
plays
at playing the bad guy, but then I was going to say I shouldn't talk because back in the day I was a Balrog. Not actually, it was an RPG. Now that I mentioned, it was a different kind of RPG though, text based, and I was like it was a parody thing. But the other chap's turn. Sorry.
I was going to say, I don't think Tolkien would have appreciated him turning his work into an RTS, period.
Especially since it's basically since RTS games kind of devalue the notion of war because you basically can infinite unit spam.
True.
Be gone, filth! I will not let you taint the spirits of our The captain of Arnor has proved a worthy and persistent adversary.
Yeah, let's see.
The smoldering spirits of Arnor's pathetic
I'm not sure if vampires are technically zombies, are they?
by completing the
Well, they're both dead bodies. I know that
I mean,
the
what does technically even mean?
Similar phylum, different species.
Yeah. And Great Scott says COVID came from Angmar, didn't you know? Well, seems reasonable.
indeed. And that's the end of that scenario. And then this is kind of a fun one because I can do one of two things after this, where there's either okay has to go. I guess.
Did someone just die?
Yeah,
No,
Yokai.
yeah,
dipped
he had
out.
to head out. And so, also, like, there's kind of a made-up. That's actually one of the Nazgul that the Witch King brought with him to Angmar, named Morgamir.
When he falls over backwards.
Yeah.
So if that guy's the Witch King before being turned into a ring wraith, does he have the ring yet?
Actually, that is one of the 9 ring wraiths. That's not the Witch King. That's actually the Witch King's lieutenant. That's also one of the Nazgul. And this is actually like long after they got the ring. This is their rings of power. It's like 1,000 years after they got
So
their
this
rings.
isn't the king of Angmar.
No, that's just his lieutenant. He's basically
Okay,
just-
now I remember his lieutenant actually.
Oh, go for it. Sorry.
I think his lieutenant. Thank you. I think his lieutenant's name is Hamul the Easterling.
Yeah, the Camille the Easterling in the lore he's the Castellan or caretaker of Dol Guldur, as far as I remember. Or if Castellan is the
forgot that.
appropriate, even the appropriate. So this one's fun because I can win this in 5 minutes because they basically. No, really, seriously, I can beat this in under 5. This particular scenario in under 5 minutes if I played in a specific way. I could play it the way they would probably want you to, but I can also play it in a way that I can beat it in 5 minutes.
The map
Like,
looks cool.
Yeah, the map is really good. And also, like, I really like the artwork as well. Like, I like how, like, the artwork of Fornos looks.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, to Wheel of Time fans out there, it kind of looks like Kyrian in terms of, like, the way that it's, like, a very geometric pattern layout.
The last and decisive battle for the North is about to begin.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of different because in the final scenario, instead of like having a giant plains battle in front of Fornos, like it did happen in Dependencies, they pushed the Witch King back to Angmar, and you have to fight your way through his lieutenants in order to get at him. So since I'm going to get a bunch of enemy combatants coming out from that direction, their cavalry, I'm going to make a bunch of pikemen and put the pikemen right over here. But here's the way that you win in 5 minutes. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to summon a bunch of orcs right here. And I'm going to have them go here, then play a game of relay where I summon the whites right here.
Oh, so you're basically cheesing out the fog of war.
Pretty much, yeah. So now I can kind of like go in here, keep going. Then I can kind of play that guy, go in here, and just smash this. Smash these guys.
Did the wolf just instantly heal?
Yep.
How'd you do that?
Devour basically kills one enemy unit, and then enemy infantry unit, and just instantly regains his health. Health plus 50% armor.
This will be the result of all attempts to enter our
And that's the Witch King
Primarily
right
East
there.
Building.
Yeah. He's kind of one of the. He's apparently was a great warrior in his time, a mighty conqueror. And that's the end.
Yep, it says here. It says what? You finished already?
Yep.
It says here he dwelt in Goldor after its reoccupation in Third Age 2951, also called the Shadow of the East.
Yeah.
And this is not very woke. The Black Easterling. That's not.
Well, it's kind of just in the metaphor. Well, thankfully, it's not that he was a black guy. It's more metaphorical that he was like the Black Shadow, like Balerion the Black Dread, or something like that.
Yeah. To be fair.
But yeah, that's how you can kind of very easily cheese the scenario. Like you basically even though I lost my whole army because I just pulled an Ender Wiggin, I was able to just smash through the enemy very quickly.
Hey, Dunn, I'm gonna dip out. I'll talk to you
Okay.
guys later.
Okay.
Okay. See you
So-
later.
Yeah.
Nice night.
Have a
So,
riot.
so for the one person in the chat and the few people watching, shall I do the Fornos one over again and just show you how you can kind of beat it in a regular way, or shall I go to the epilogue? What are your thoughts?
Whatever you like. What was the question again? Sorry.
Do you want to do the epilogue, or do you want to see how you're supposed to beat the mission?
Yeah. Whichever you like then.
Might as well just do the epilogue because if the developers couldn't see that coming, then they sort of deserve it.
Yeah, there is a bonus objective where you can destroy the buildings in Fornos, but it's not pivotal to the mission. You can basically lose all of the initial force that you sent out at the enemy and still win. It's kind of insane how broken they make that.
It also doesn't seem like there's a whole hell of a lot of story in this. It's not all RTSs are like this, but some of them have really thick story, and they'll just have story going on up in the top banner with just commanders bantering back and forth.
Yeah, Age of Empires is a big example of this.
Okay. RTS again, sorry.
Real-time strategy.
Yeah. Okay.
It basically just refers to stuff like Warcraft 3, Age of Empires, StarCraft, that sort of thing, where you're just controlling large armies, or even whether in battalion format or single unit format.
Okay, and you're doing it more or less in real time. Then things happen.
So it is at the will of my people that I change from storytelling.
Okay, are these elves?
Yep, that's Glorfindel in the only bit of media that I have seen him in that wasn't the books.
I wonder if he's an interplay. That was an old game. I never played it, but a friend of mine did. It has things like you're supposed to mug Celeborn, but or something like that. You have to mug Celeborn and roll. Galadriel practically begs you to take Celeborn with you. You may take any of my elves, even my husband Celeborn, with you, she says.
So I guess she's trying to get rid of him so she can get with Gandalf.
And basically, he's going to ambush you or something anyway. So you may as well mug him and steal his stuff. Or whatever, or something like that. I never actually played this game myself.
So yeah, apparently in this game, good old Elrond can summon a tornado.
Cool.
Yeah, he has a lot of interesting things, like grants extra bonuses. He can heal units. Glorfindel can either fight using his like is can actually mount up his horse, Asphalloth.
Yeah, let's see. Kamul, the Shadow of the East, abode in Dol Guldur as Sauron's lieutenant. Da-da-da.
Nothing shall stand before. We must act now. Middle Earth depends on us.
No.
Now,
Okay.
the Witch King must be defeated. Building materials.
And right now I'm going to have to worry about... This is more of a kill the enemy units more than anything else.
As
and
opposed to what? What else matters?
Well, specific enemy units. The main victory thing on this is you work your way through killing the Witch King's lieutenants, i.e. Karsh, Morgamir, Rogash, the giant troll dude, and then the Witch King himself, and hit a little fortified area at the top of the map, kind of around this area right here. And as opposed to like a checkmate position, it's actually really hard to get the Witch King. It's very time consuming. But one thing that I'm going to do right here is I'm going to build a building that allows me to kind of double my resource production, so that I can be able to make sure that my farms, because I can't really build that many because I'm restricted by this pass all the way up. So it's not all of this area is open. It's basically just a like winding, like serpentine path that goes all the way up to here. And that kind of limits me in terms of like what I'm allowed to make in terms of my resource production buildings.
Yeah. Oh, here's some more stuff about Kamul. He's the one who spoke to Gaffer Gamgee, all of the hobbits, and narrowly missed them at Bucklebury Ferry. And looks like he's the one whose power was most confused by daylight, although also he was one of the ones most ready to perceive the presence of the ring. So that's a little bit of lore.
Yeah, I do like Kamul like as a concept, and it's kind of interesting that the ring wraiths kind of get very little backstory as opposed to a lot of the other characters and races and peoples.
Yeah, very little. So, I mean, some of them don't even have most of them don't even have names or stories at all, other than they were mortal men and they got corrupted.
Yeah, it's pretty much Kamul actually has the most backstory. Same with the Witch King. And even like the Witch King, it's mostly just most of like his notoriety comes from the fact that he was the king of Angmar and destroyed the kingdom of Arnor after Sauron fell, and we don't really know much about him before then, other than he was probably of Númenorian descent.
Yeah, because some of them were of Númenorian. Some of them were Númenorian.
Yeah, it was like 3 of them, as far as I remember.
I wonder if it says so in here. A bunch of stuff. Yeah, this is a book for nerds.
Oh, we are fully Stan nerds here on this channel. We stan all nerds.
Fair enough.
Oh, geez, look at all those guys come out right from the fog of war. It's like, surprise, doggos.
Yeah. There's actually a neat thing with the Thrall Masters where they actually like create a fog whenever they summon their units, and then like they just kind of appear out of nowhere. Okay.
That would be a lot more annoying if ranged combat were more of a thing in this.
Well, actually, it kind of is, because I actually have a bunch of ranged units to start off this game.
Hurry, elves of the wood.
Like, actually, most of, like, what I play with is ranged units. I just kind of, like, whenever they have cavalry, I try to put my pikemen in front, because pikemen just destroy infantry. So...
Yeah,
But
especially
yeah.
in Dawn of War, there's ranged combat, and then there's close combat, which is so strictly there to make ranged combat shut up. So I never really liked close combat in Dawn of War. If numerically is supposed to do more damage, and I would know if the game didn't lie about the damage it's doing, but it's the range just does so. The range just seems to do damage quicker. I don't know why.
That's so weird. That's so funny, actually. So let's actually build up some siege works so that we can get some siege engines going, since unlike Game of Thrones, we know how to use trebuchets up in this house.
That just shows you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, trebuchets are totally line breaker units.
Yeah.
Yeah, D&D would know better than you.
Yes. They would, when they two men that don't have screenwriting credentials or training in direction.
Yeah, all you need to do is put the trebuchet out in front, push it, and run over all your enemies. Duh.
Yeah.
They're richer than you, though. But they're richer than you, so they must know better.
Yeah, because Benioff's daddy is a smarter, more intelligent businessman than he is.
Well, at least David Benioff knew how to be born by him. Did you?
Well, I guess so. Yeah, you got me. You got me. Guilty as charged. I picked the wrong vagina and semen to have been produced by.
Way to get inseminated!
No comment.
That is like the weirdest of weird flex, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of just this guy. He just he just was born into a rich family, and like I doubt that he would have the connections that he had without the fact that his dad is freaking rich. Since having read some of his prose, I'm just like, this is like pathetic middle school stuff.
So you're not impressed by they both failed geography, then?
Oh, I am impressed that they failed geography, but I'm more impressed that they managed to fail upward in the world's most expensive film school.
Not them. Sansa and Jon failed geography. You don't think that's brilliant prose?
Oh, I was thinking using the word ass like 6 times at the cross of us 5 paragraphs.
Yes, how eloquent.
Yeah, it's just about this guy has a hot one on his arm, and he just wants everybody to be jealous and stare at her butt. It's so horrible.
No comment.
Oh my god, look at her butt.
Yeah, it's just like, Mr. Benioff, I understand that you're a horny man, but can you not be so transparent about it?
Yeah. Oh, great Scott in the chat. Sansa and Jon think the North is Dorne. Confirmed.
Clearly. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. It's kind of just sad that this is what, like, a lot of, like, our, like, I think the only, like, franchise that has either been ruined or is due to be like ruined is Warhammer 40K, as far as I'm aware. I haven't heard anything about like Warhammer being like ruined, like Star Wars and Game of Thrones were ruined.
Well,
I could be
40K is
wrong,
getting
though.
ruined by being very conventionally bad rather than being sort of wokey bad. There are two words I could tell you that pretty much will ruin any attempt I have to try to get back into Warhammer 40K ever again. And you're not going to understand it, but those words are heavy intercessors.
I have never heard of that. Please elaborate.
Okay, Games Workshop figured out for a while that nobody was playing Space Marines because they had really strong armor, really tough, but they only had one wound to pop. They probably should have rectified this sooner, but instead of just giving Space Marines 2 wounds across the board and just eradicating all of the books, they made a new kind of Space Marine called Primaris. And the Intercessor is the sort of tactical Marine, the grunt of the Primaris Marines. And those guys had 2 wounds when regular Marines had 1. Eventually, fairly recently actually, they did change it around so the normal Space Marines have 2 wounds as well. But by that point, Intercessors were just so ubiquitous that it really didn't matter anymore. And not that they were absolutely unkillable or broken necessarily in and of themselves. It was their stratagems that made them broken, but that's beside the point. And then recently in some sets that came out, I think with kicking off 9th edition, they had a new kind of troop for Space Marines, the Heavy Intercessor. Because not only did you have these gigantic Mary Sue Marines coming out of nowhere to save the Imperium at its darkest hour, and believe me, pull that trick once and you can pull it forever, but they weren't good enough. They had to make even bigger Primaris. So it's basically an issue of any time the Imperium is in danger, Games Workshop will invent progressively larger Space Marines.
So it's got a power creep problem.
It's got a power creep problem in the lore. That's sad. And this is the poster boy of Grimdark. The poster boys of Grimdark have massive authorial bias for their quote-unquote good guys, and so the Imperium is basically beset on all sides by danger. And the only thing standing in the way between the enemies of man and total annihilation is insane amounts of authorial bias.
That's actually
So it's like
really
the Imperium is beset by all sides, except you're a liar. They're not beset by all sides because it doesn't matter how screwed they are. You'll just invent a bigger Space Marine, literally.
Are the Space Marines like genetically engineered super soldiers or something? Or
Yes, the original Space Marines were genetically engineered super soldiers, and then the Primaris were genetically engineered Space Marines.
yeah,
And
that
then the
is-
Heavy Intercessors are even bigger.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that with that one, that was very much like way too much time was devoted to punishing Theon. I think that just having him like just happen like once or twice, and then once more at the very end would probably be a lot better. But that's just me.
There is work to be done. Weapons ready, elves. Don't draw attention.
So I'm just gonna wait for a little bit and let my army regrow itself.
Troubles loaded.
And I do need to upgrade my Mirkwood archers, which are actually the best archers in the game, I think, especially since like Silverthorn arrows have the best what is it, the kind of the best arrow upgrade, which is called Silverthorn arrows. You can kind of see actually these guys have just auto given Silverthorn arrows because they're the hero unit, or a hero battalion, I mean, that got introduced in this particular game.
Knights,
The one problem with hero battalions is they don't heal themselves automatically. They do heal their units, but if you lose them, like the only way you can heal them is either through the heal power, which is this thing, or you can put them near a well type thing, which in this case is either the Mirror of Galadriel for elves, or a fountain, or a well like this. They'll basically just allow the units to heal when they're not being attacked. Like right now, we're facing a bunch of like troll battalions that are fighting against us. They're just getting like spammed up against us. We're kind of just waiting for the enemy to kind of just upgrading until which time did the enemy? Yes, that is a very, very good point. Oh, what?
Wouldn't the trolls be on this? Wouldn't the trolls be on the side of Angmar?
Yeah, we're fighting against them as they come at us. We're a bunch of.
Okay, you're not Angmar then.
No, this is actually a coalition of men and elves right now fighting against Angmar at the end.
Okay.
And like I am not evil, no.
Good. That's a relief.
Yeah. So especially like since. Yeah, that's a very good That's actually very good, I think. You kind of leave it to, and maybe even like tell like tiny bits of it through flashback. I think that would actually be smart. But basically, like, right now I'm thinking as a combination of actually elves and men, because at the moment what's happening is the elves and the men, usually there's two separate factions, but for this scenario, they've kind of merged both. So I get one builder of an elven builder and a human builder, and each with their own set of buildings that I can create.
Cool.
Most of what I'm going to be making are elven units because they have better archers and just, I think, better armor upgrades, period, as well. And though I will be creating, the main thing that I will keep is the siege workshop, the Men of the West siege workshop, because that creates trebuchets.
Whenever anyone says trebuchet, I'm immediately triggered.
Indeed, it's quite the. At least in this case, I like. They're like, I'm gonna be using them in actual like siege their siege context, where I'm going to be using them to just waste buildings like crazy.
You know, if you really wanted to humiliate the game, you would use the trebuchets the way Benioff used the trebuchets.
I've actually done that a few times where I put them in, where I put the trebuchets in front of the walls. At least I think so. Though most of them, I might just put them in front of the walls, on top of the walls, or behind the walls, and let my own units kind of like stay inside or outside.
I'll do that thing in Dawn of War all the time because the AI is smart enough to attack on its own and generally operate in ways that it should, but it's not smart enough to switch targets. So I'll send in the heavier target that can really take a licking, and then I'll send my lighter units behind it. That way I just have to heal the unit that got damaged and just repeat the process and stomp the map, rather than having to retrain every single stupid guardsman I lost along the way. The number one strategy of RTS is if there is a way to not fight fair, don't.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep, Tolkien wouldn't care for that either.
No, he would not. There's kind of not really that many ways to not fight fair in this game. You can kind of stack things fairly heftily in your favor. But I think that one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be building a lot of fortresses because they actually are more reliable resource production because they don't decrease. Even though like a lot of my like farms at this point are producing like 44, or in 30 between 37 and 34 or things per second, or per 10 seconds, I think. It's fairly reliable, as opposed to like Age of Empires, where it's just you have to get, if you want to get like major resource boosts, you have to get a lot of villagers working on the same thing. So, or at least like on like getting the same number of the same amounts of resources. But yeah, right now it's just basically just a steam. Basically, at this point, like it's a steamroller effect, where kind of what I'm trying to do is just kind of clear Angmar out, and so I'm going to
looks
be
like
using.
Christmas.
It kind of is, because
a lot like Christmas.
yeah, since Angmar is in this icy frozen wasteland, so
Yeah. Yeah. So was Mordor, not Mordor, Morgoth's realm in
Angband,
Bungarodrim. That was in the north. Yeah,
as
that
well
was
as
in the north.
wasn't it called Angband, or was that his fortress?
I think that was the fortress, and Thungarodrim, I think, was the mountain range, because there was a whole like realm they ruled.
Yeah, and he was able to, and when he sent Ancalagon the Black out, and Fingolfin killed him, the dragon Agon's Fall crumbled the entire mountain range. That's how cartoonishly enormous he was.
Yeah, poor Ancalagon didn't get to do very much.
No, he was the bestest dragon that's ever been. Is basically the biggest dragon that's ever been or ever would be, but he kind of gets taken out really quickly.
Yeah. I hate it when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically like no dragon that ever exists. Not even like Shuriken, Galbatorix's like kaiju-sized dragon in Aragon can take on Ancalagon the Black.
What about Pelarion the Black Dread?
I don't even think that Balerion could take on Ancalagon, because Balerion was big, but he's not like the size of King's Landing like Ancalagon was. Since
Seems like Ancalagon should have been harder. Sorry, carry on.
yeah, since he basically like, isn't it just like he flies his magic flying ship at him and just destroys him, just kills him? There's very little detail on it. There's very little detail as far as I can remember.
Yeah, I don't really remember anything much about him. I remember he left early, but it was before he reached his full strength and height, and then he came again later and did things, and then died.
Wasn't that Glaurung too?
Yeah, Glaurung actually has more of a personality.
Yeah, he's very much a sadist as far as I remember.
Yeah, he likes to do psychological torture to people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Glaurung's very much a like how he torments like he's able to cast like magic spells that cause memory loss as far as I remember.
Yes.
And like that's how Tolkien has his one and only accidental incesting.
Yes, modeled on a scene in the Kalevala.
Yeah. Was it the Kalevala, or is that the Kalevala or the Alcalabeth? Or maybe I'm mixing the two. I always
Yeah,
think of the Kalevala as the Norse myth of Wainamoinen and the Sampo.
the Finnish myth, yes.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
an
I
old
actually
one,
had a.
yes.
Oh, okay. I had the Actually, there's a funny book called The Canine Kalevala, where basically they turned them into a like it's basically a parody book where all of the characters in the Kalevala are dogs, are various types of dogs,
I have building supplies.
and it's really it's very humorous actually.
Yeah.
Lancers. I'm just resting my arms. I'm ready.
Yeah, sounds amusing. I can
Yeah.
imagine like cartoon dogs maybe.
Yeah, very cartoony dogs.
Good. Good.
Building.
Yeah, they're wearing like armor and stuff, and kind of even have a joke that like at the very end that like the cat is ostracized as because he Lemminkainen is they kind of make a joke that Lemminkainen is a cat. And my dad, when he would read it, he would read him as this exuberant French guy in the vein of Jean Bob the Frog from the Princess, the Swan Princess animated movie.
Like Pepe Le Pew.
Kind of like fetch me my battle broth. Mother, fetch me my battle broth. I am going to woo the maiden of the north.
Your mother was a hamster.
And your father stank of elderberries.
Fair enough.
Oh man, Monty Python and the Holy Grail is so funny. It's kind of like the best King Arthur movie, as far as apart from maybe The King Would Be King, but that one has like kind of the weird thing of it's modern day. It's modern day King Arthur as opposed to like back in the day King Arthur.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah, it's an interesting movie to say the least, and it's very cute, but I kind of have to admit that it's kind of it's kind of a movie that I would not necessarily say is like the best King Arthur movie. It's kind of, even though like there's kind of elements where it's just like it's got some pretty hefty bad competition, like Excalibur. I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of. I kind of like First Knight, but it's less of a King Arthur movie and more of a Lancelot movie.
Yeah.
Like Lancelot in First Knight is the main character.
Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. Yeah. What about, was Camelot ever a film?
I believe it was actually.
It must have been. Those other ones were films too.
Okay. So apparently Glorfindel and Elrond are both now dead, and I have to make my way without them.
Oh, that's a bummer. You
Yeah,
still
it
have
is a little bit.
Galadriel?
Nope, don't have Galadriel.
What about
The only hero I have is Eärnur of Gondor.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a riot. We know what happens. We know what happens with that.
Yeah, he. As far as I remember, he dies. Like after he goes to face the Witch King.
Yeah, we don't even know exactly the circumstances in which he died either, if I remember correctly.
He was probably betrayed, I imagine, and the Witch King just punked him and said, "Nah, lol, I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that probably, yeah, he probably wasn't. He was supposedly he was challenging him to a fight, but probably wasn't actually a fair fight, or even a fight at all. Probably just hit him,
Yeah, he probably
surrounded, and murdered him.
yeah, probably just a red wedding type situation there.
Yeah, where he like trapped him with a whole bunch of his people, and then probably tortured him.
Yeah. There's kind of a thing in I think it's Lord of the Rings Online where he actually turned Eärnur into a wraith. That's kind of the one of the antagonists called Mordrith.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Which kind of like I think that makes a certain measure of sense. The guy I have not seen that. So thoughts. So that's actually not the newest King Arthur movie. The newest King Arthur movie was actually The Kid Who Would Be King in 2019. But I have not heard very good things about King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword. Like it seemed like both sides of the aisle did not like that movie. Like since they basically tried to turn King Arthur into a superhero and basically like go the Thor route. Like basically turn King Arthur into Thor.
King Arthur. King.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
That
movie
really gives me more dread. But
Yeah. Yeah, I have not heard any good things about that movie. Like I have heard like mostly like the best I've heard that it's like okay, and there's kind of an unintentionally hilarious moment where like the King Arthur is just slamming his fists into his nuts in order to build like pain tolerance or something. It's weird.
No comment.
I've seen it on YouTube and it is just like hilarious. It is so funny. Just Guy Ritchie, no, I'm sorry. That was dumb. Why would you do
King
that?
Arthur fundamentally misunderstands masturbation.
He's banging, I guess.
I do like that one. I like that one quite a bit. That's actually a good point. Like we don't get that many stuff about the fall of the Roman Empire. I do quite like that. I think it's kind of odd. It kind of you got Keira Knightley playing a like woad barbarian chick, and she's speaking like perfect Queen's English. And it's just kind of like my mom just kept remarking on that when we were watching it for school. And I'm just like, you're right. I can never unhear that now. Her diction is way too posh for this.
Well, I mean, English is a barbarian language, you know.
Well, it's mainly just like not even like like the fact that like it's mainly the accent more than anything else. Because if you've ever seen like Keira Knightley in anything, like she kind of mostly always uses like the same like very very precise English diction because she's a very very precise English lady, and that kind of oh sorry, go for it.
What time frame is this roughly analogous to?
400 AD. Around give or take, I think it's around the time that Rome was pulling out of Britain.
Wow.
So yeah.
Let's just say that posh English is way younger than people think it is.
Yeah, so that's why it's distracting. It's because she's it's mainly distracting because it's just like a very posh British accent in 400 AD Britain, specifically of a like person who's lived on the other side of Hadrian's Wall for most of their life.
Well, maybe she was like the aristocracy of the area north of Hadrian's Wall.
She is. Oh, she is. But then we have her dad, who's Merlin. Her dad is Merlin, who's a woad chieftain. And he just speaks like kind of just normal like He speaks. I can't remember like how he speaks, but it's just like we have these. It's just kind of an odd. It's an interesting movie. Like it's an interesting historical fiction because it's basically just like talking about like the Battle of Baden Hill, where you're where they're fighting against the Saxons, trying to keep them out.
But that was like a century later, wasn't it? That was like 500 AD.
Yep. Yeah, a whole lot of historical anachronisms there.
Oh, well. That period's kind of confused anyway, so who knows?
In the original, yes. But in this, he's just a regular guy. They cut out all of the magic elements of this and just kind of made it more like a grounded historical drama.
Let's see. I found that a whole lot of changes I thought I made to my chapter aren't here, so we have to do them all over again, and it involves figuring out the times all over again too, because they've got a different system of time from that, so I have to do the mathematics of that all over again, and annoyed. Just thought I'd share that.
Nice.
Looks like your stuff got wrecked a little there.
Yeah, they did. A little bit, yeah. And the worst part is I can't get my heroes back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replenish my troops. Yeah, I got a little bit wrecked there. I haven't lost yet, though. One thing about them is that they don't usually come at you. They just kind of hunker there, and it actually works better for them because they have sorcerers that allow you to heal your own units by leeching off of the energy source of your enemy units. So
now, obviously, there's artillery. Are there spotter units, or is pretty much every unit a spotter unit?
Define spotter.
Basically, something with a much longer fog of war dispersal, so that way you can see further ahead and you can really maximize the range of your unit. It's not essentially capped off to your fog of war reduction. So that if there's some unit way in front of your catapult, and your catapult is a really long range, and your catapult can just launch way into the distance, and your unit can just sit there behind a wall hiding and disperse the fog of war that way. So that way you basically just shell them and they have no idea what's going on. Or is that tactic too young for this setting?
I think that it's actually, I don't know actually, because how this works is basically the trebuchet actually has a pretty far range, but like it's got a cap on how far it can throw. But like you have to move and there aren't really like scout units with like high amounts of a high range. But my friend World of Planetos has played that, and he's a big fan. I need to check how that guy's doing.
As far as I know, spotting as a tactic is mostly like World War I/II era.
Yeah, since kind of like with this, it's kind of just I'm shelling I'm mostly throwing catapult stones at them. Like I think I'll just and right now the thing about this scenario is once I've reached this point, the entire map most of the fog of war is cleared pretty much. Like in this area, the fog of war is just gone. So
is it cleared because you went in there, or is it cleared because you tripped something?
No, it's there because I just went in there.
Oh, so the fog of war doesn't dissipate when your units die?
Nope.
What? That seems exploitable.
Well, it kind of depends. It depends on the scenario. In this one, no. In this one, the fog of war does not dissipate. Another at least in this area, it doesn't dissipate. Here, it would dissipate. But the thing is, I have a fortress right here, which has a pretty far line of sight. That I can exploit. Also, like now that I have a bunch of resources coming in, I can basically build a bunch of fortresses like right outside of the Witch King's little bivouac right here.
And then just chain fortresses and just shell them from out of any range that they could reasonably retaliate in.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's how I'd do it.
Pretty much, yeah. Though the one thing that I need to do is I need to kill him. Once I kill him, the game is over. But he doesn't really go out very much. In order to beat him, what I have to do is lure him out, build a bunch of fortresses, and then he'll try fighting the fortresses once he's been lured out, as far as I can remember.
Doesn't go out much, is it?
No, he doesn't. He's quite the shy person, but we have to lure him out to the party with a cheesy enough prize.
He's staying at home because isn't there a pandemic? Or
Yeah.
a plague?
Yeah, and I guess he's an introvert.
Yeah, the Witch King's a major introvert.
No wonder he turned evil.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
introverts
bitch
do
king.
turn. Kind of, yeah. He does kind of run away from fights a lot.
Yeah, he's not actually frightened of the fighting. He's just frightened because it's some people. Eek, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, maybe he's like closeted, like, maybe he's just closeted and he's just like, oh, a hot elf. I'm questioning my sexuality. I need to leave.
Alphaphilia is
terrible.
disgusting.
Yeah. Well, considering the Glorfindel's like second to an angel or something.
Yeah, I always was confused by the whole concept of like half elves or half Vulcans. If elves are so advanced, wouldn't they basically just see you like a cow? Wouldn't they see like human relations as sort of like bestiality? Or am I overthinking it?
You're not wrong, actually, but they just never think about that because they just never go into that. I think they're just...
Tolkien never went there that I know of.
Yeah, very rarely do you kind of go into that. Like, I think like George R. R. Martin kind of goes into that with the Targaryens, where kind of like there's a lot of people that say like the dragon does not mate with lesser beasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
The dragon does not, or the dragon cannot.
Those
are not the same thing.
They can. It's just that it's kind of genetics. Genetics in A Song of Ice and Fire are weird, to say the least, because like even though like there's like a ton of like brother sister inbreeding in this world, you don't get any like physical birth defects. You only will get like maybe like some mental stuff, and even then it's just
the only physical problem I can remember is Malus, and I don't remember if that had anything to do with incest or for just hey,
it just happened. Yeah.
Kind
of the only like birth defect thing like is that sometimes Targaryen babies are born with wings and a tail. I'm
when
remembering
a Targaryen is born, God flips a coin.
Oh yeah, pretty much. That's actually a phrase in the show.
Yeah, and in the book.
That's what I was referring to.
It's kind of wrong though.
It is a little bit, since they're not all bad. Like, even the worst ones that are supposedly crazy are mostly just, yes, they would have Habsburg genes. Yeah, that's why I say, kind of, George R. R. Martin kind of said with genetics, in terms of the incest, nope, we are not doing that. Hemlock
Yeah.
Grove. I have heard of it. It's got Jean Grey, Famke Janssen in it, but I haven't actually watched it. I know it's on Netflix, but I've never gotten into it. I'll have to. I need to check it out. I'm currently in the middle of Shadow and Bone, but I kind of took a break to watch The Circle, which is just infinitely entertaining because of how dumb some of the people are. Because have either of you heard of The Circle?
I don't know anything.
It's a reality TV show where you can only communicate with people via text.
Nah.
And so like people can choose to go in as themselves or they can choose to be a catfish and be somebody else.
Fair enough. In terms of incest, it's the weirdest thing is how Ned leaps from the fact that Joffrey and so forth aren't robbers. He immediately leaps to incest.
Yeah, it's an odd leap in logic.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's kind of a weird plot hole.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. Yeah, it's kind of weird in that, like, kind of like at least in the first season, like it seemed like a lot of genuine, like, nice human relationships happened, but in the second one, it's like it got cat. Its second season's really catty, like right off the bat. But yeah, incest in that bit where he just automatically jumps to incest has kind of led to some people theorizing that were Benjen and Lyanna like doing the nasty secretly, and that's why Ned jumped to that conclusion.
So so he figures that whenever the hair is the same as whatever the recessive gene is, then it must be incest.
I think so, yeah. I don't know why. Yeah, it's kind of like I think it's actually like kind of neat that like Preston Jacobs pointed that plot particular. I don't know if it's a plot hole or what, but it's a weird leap of logic for Lord Stark to make.
Yeah, I think I would call it a plot hole.
Yeah, since he just automatically goes. It is automatically incest. They have blonde hair, not black hair. Like Gendry, it must be incest, even though like there's probably a bunch of blonde, like lords in the Seven Kingdoms, like the high tower. Some of the high towers have blonde / silver hair, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, I mean, it only works if only Lannisters are blonde and no one else can be blonde, which I don't think is the case.
Yeah, some of his videos are kind of tinfoily. I definitely would agree. Yeah, that one's odd. Yeah, that one is kind of odd. So, for reference to those who don't know, the Dornish Master Plan is basically the notion that Doran Martell wants to try and like institute Dornish law, which will basically allow his daughter to become queen because of the idea that what is it, that Dornish law relies mainly on gender blind equal primogeniture.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the Dornish master plan, Valerian? Since, like, I kind of just like a lot of theories. Kind of just like I'm like, okay. I think like the major theories that I would say that I buy are the Maester theory, and the Maesters against the Dragons theory, and the northern conspiracy plan, but those are the main ones that I buy. What are your thoughts?
You mean Preston's?
I think there's theories in general.
Yeah, because I don't tend to do a lot in the way of theories, and when I do a theory, it's usually like something blindingly obvious, like Lady Tana is up to something. She's not actually in love with Cersei. Well, no lie, Mycroft. So
Yeah.
And I think Preston Jacobs overthinks things a lot. I think there's something in the lemon trees. And in fact, I know there's something in the lemon trees because the lemon tree thing because George R. R. Martin said so. So we know he's onto something there, although I don't agree with him necessarily that Danny is just some random dragon seed. Bastard ass. As for the Dornish plan, I don't remember very much of it. I mean, let me see how much, because it like it was like a long series, and I watched it a long time ago. I do remember there was something about Qyburn and the connection with Oberyn, which maybe.
Yeah, I think the major idea of the Dornish master plan was the notion that that Doran basically is using that the Brave Companions are the tool of the Martells, and that
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think I incline to the view that they're just sort of, I don't know if they have an agenda beyond that they like mutilating and torturing people and robbing them and doing nasty things to them.
Yeah, the Dornish are The Dornish are pretty evil when you actually look at what they've done across their wars.
Yeah, they did some nasty stuff to Rhaenys and so forth. Yes,
and also just nasty thing to their war prisoners, their POWs. Period.
Yeah. Pardon me.
So where's the Witch King?
He is. I actually don't know where he is right now.
That's not good.
You lost the Witch King.
Oh, he actually just started attacking my fortress, and my fortress just auto-killed him.
Wow.
I lost him, and then he just started fighting my fortress. I think partially it's just you lure him out, and then he just starts trying to kill your fortress. And then if you've just upgraded, and the fortress trebuchets will just pound him until he dies.
Is he normally really hard to kill? I mean, you just basically artilleried him to death.
Normally, yes. If you're trying to fight him, a big problem is the fact that he has sorcerers around him that heal him. So you gotta really smash him with a big, fully upgraded army. Maybe, but you gotta balance it out with a lot of archers, and I think the best thing to use is actually cavalry, because most of the thing in there is infantry that won't auto kill your cavalry.
Yeah.
So,
and Quentin being alive too.
Yeah, Quentin's dead. He's deader than dead. Same with Arianne. Arianne's gonna die. Is gonna die on Shipbreaker Bay.
Yeah, probably. Sadly. What was that other theory I was thinking of?
I think a major theory of his was the Night's Watch theory that was really long.
Oh yeah. That was what I was thinking of. That's where the things where he overthinks things, because there was this bit where it's kind of where he thinks it's really weird. Why would Jon want to help Sam? Well, maybe he got some mind control, maybe, but it seems there were perfectly reasonable explanations within the text as to why he would. He just sympathized with the underdog. It seems perfectly reasonable to me. So I don't think there's a problem that needs to be solved.
Especially after he was after Donald Noy said, "You're a bully. You have better training than any of them, and you're just kicking them around the yard like a bully."
Yeah, and he took that to heart.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I just think that is a possibility. That is a possibility actually. I just think that like it's interesting symmetry if she dies on Shipbreaker Bay on this, because it seemed like Doran Martell is either the dumbest man alive or he is a calculating psychopath who wants to get rid of his two older children, his two least favorite children. Like,
yeah, there was this weird thing where he doesn't ask about his son. He asks about where are the dragons, where is Daenerys. He doesn't ask about his son.
yeah, it just seemed as though it kind of seems as though just like a lot of people say, oh, Doran, he's just this kind of like kind of semi-smart wheelchair-bound guy, and it just seemed like his like, and then like Order the Green Hand pointed out, so I don't take full credit for this. Like he just like has a lot of like bad plans. Like why would he send Quentin Martell, who looks like a frog, to Daenerys, especially accompanied by Garrus Drinkwater, who is a male model, like, who looks really, really hot. And it's just really, really weird that like he seems to be putting his children into missions that they're not well suited for, and telling them both that the fate of Dorne rests on your success.
Yeah,
It's
weird.
kind of odd. Yeah, it's kind of odd. I'd have to like read the Winds of Winter, but it's kind of would be interesting symmetry, which George R. R. Martin sometimes does, where one of the Martell children dies by fire and the other one dies by water. So I don't know how much like George like does. I'd have to read more. Yeah, I think he's probably just keeping them occupied because Arianne's not that smart. And neither is Quentin, really. Quentin seemed like he was, based on my first read through, he seemed like he's kind of a hopeless romantic. And it's kind of that problem of just when you kind of go that far, you kind of lose sight of things. Yes, I would agree. I don't think that Doran is dumb. I definitely agree with that. I don't think he's dumb. It just seems like he's a very cunning psychopath. At least like that's my impression of Doran Martell. Thank you for coming to our game stream talking about Game of Thrones fan theories
and various other random things.
Indeed. Well, this has been fun completing the Angmar campaign with y'all. I will probably do the if we're going in chronological order, I'm probably going to be doing the Battle for Middle-earth 2 campaign, the good team, and then I'll do the bad guy team, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. And then I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to do Age of Empires, I guess, since that one's actually like relatively challenging for me. Because even on standard, I can barely beat some of these scenarios. So I just either need to get better or figure out like ways to kind of mix and match things. But
yeah,
that's pretty much it. I think the next time we will see Empire at War. I don't have that game actually. Yeah, I love Age of Empires. Especially, I just barely got the definitive edition, which like the graphics are really nice. And I really like the processing speed. It's really, really convenient to use. But I think we'll conclude it there, and we will be back to finish the penultimate chapter of Fire Cannot Kill a Dragon. And then next Monday we will hopefully finish with the we'll hopefully finish with that particular chapter. Hopefully it won't be that bad.
What are you going to be doing after that?
Well, I know that next week, Thursday, we're going to be doing Phantom Menace. And then we'll probably just do third. And then I think we'll try and after that we'll try and finish Framing Monsters. And then on Mondays, I don't know what we'll be doing other than maybe
Oh
just figure out,
God, Framing Monsters! I thought we got out of that what we needed.
True, we had finished it, and there's like the chapter on like monstrous minds and seeing things are the next two like chapters in the thing. There's only 2 left,
Are we
so we
going
can
to
kind of
do-
finish that. Oh, go for it.
Thank you. Are we going to do a summary of the Fire Cannot Kill a Dragon book? Maybe bring the Dragon Shop on.
I would actually like that. Yeah, I would ask. I'll have to ask him like when might be a good time, since I know he's like super busy with a lot of stuff.
Yes.
I'll have to ask him if he would be willing to come on for the summary thing. But yeah, I think like how it would work is this Thursday would be we're finishing it. Next would be this Thursday we're finishing the penultimate chapter. Next week we're gonna finish the book itself. And Thursday, do we want to do like a palate cleanser Thursday and do Phantom Menace Thursday, or shall we do the summary stream on Thursday? What do you guys think?
Elaborate on what you mean by Phantom Menace Thursday.
We're gonna talk about the Phantom Menace.
We're going to do a movie party.
Yep, we're going to watch the Phantom Menace and discuss it. Since like it's May, and I figure, alrighty, let's talk about Star Wars.
May the 4th be with you.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Maybe it's just because I'm looking at the chat and on a different computer. The audio. Sorry if my audio is not very good. I have a meeting room mic. I probably need to get a better mic, but that'll probably be a little ways off since like this mic functions well enough for me. Also, like
Yeah.
I have a very naturally low register for my voice, so that just makes it kind of throaty and robotic.
Yeah, you were breaking up a bit earlier.
Oh dear, that's unfortunate.
I thought it might just be my computer or my internet or something, but no. If that chat
Okay.
hears it, then maybe not.
Well, we will conclude the stream there. Thank you all for coming, and we will see you guys later. Adios.
Have a riot.
Mhm.